Hey everyone. So a lot of people always ask me, when is this going to end, or are there other things coming down the chute, coming down the pike that I should be prepared for, that I should look out for, etc. What's coming next, that kind of thing. I want to share with you an analogy that came in this morning that describes how we move through this evolutionary shift in our human consciousness. So here we go. I want you to imagine that you're sitting in an auditorium, okay, and there is a stage in front of you. Every single human on the earth plane is looking at the same stage, okay? Depending upon where you live in the world, your stage may look a little bit different, but it's still the same systems, the same organizations, the media, governments, dictatorships, religious systems, educational systems, banking systems, right? It's how we navigate the world. Now, what I want you to imagine is that there are stages behind this initial stage, okay? There are many stages that are behind, going parallel, okay, like this, behind the initial stage. And these secondary stages have curtains, so we can't see them. We don't even see the curtains, many of them, okay? It's the shadow of this human collective experience. And I've said many times before, the shadow is fear, greed, manipulation, control, mind control, coercion, and there's more and more. So, parallel stages behind the initial stage, holding the collective consciousness. Now, what happens is that the way that we start to see these stages that are hidden is that drops have to be made on the planet that create a ripple effect or an earthquake that is so rattling that it starts to open up the curtain, allowing us to see a stage, an additional stage. So when that curtain opens, stay with me here, what we will see is a collective shadow. We will see greed, corruption, we will see manipulation, coercion, fear, control, mind control. We will start to see that physically with our eyes when the curtain opens. And there are humans on that secondary stage that is controlling the initial stage that we thought was our truth and our reality. Many humans have lived in a world, including myself, where I watch this initial stage and I think that this is all there is. That everything that I'm told on the media, everything that the government tells me, everything that the school system tells me, everything that authority figures tell me is true. They wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't manipulate me. They wouldn't try to control me. They wouldn't use fear as propaganda, right? And then we have these experiences drop like COVID that create such a massive earthquake that we start to see one of the secondary stages because the curtain has opened. And we start to say to ourselves, OMG, I can't believe this. Now, there are many stages that haven't been seen yet. Stages that are connected to our food supply, stages that are connected to our internet system and the way we are giving and receiving information around the world. There are stages connected to the monetary system. There are stages connected to the educational system, and the list goes on and on. And these stages hold the same collective shadow consciousness, right? So every time something big drops, we get to see another stage, secondary stage that has been hidden. The only way the human collective sitting in the auditorium right now moves through this entire collective shadow is that we start to see all the secondary stages that have manipulated and controlled the initial stage that we thought was our absolute truth. We thought this was real, and it's all an illusion, meaning there are secondary stages that are controlling all of it, i.e., there are people inundated with this collective shadow consciousness controlling this initial stage that we thought was our absolute truth. Now, why are there hundreds of millions that are not able to see a secondary stage that whose curtain has been opened. Why can't people see that we're being lied to? Why can't people see that we're being manipulated? Why can't people see there's propaganda? Because of cognitive dissonance. It is very challenging for a human to wrap their heads around the fact that their government, that religious figures, that educational figures, that the media would lie to them, would not have their best interest at hand, would try to hurt them in some way. It is incomprehensible for a human to hold that. We have to honor that. It will literally create psychosis in humans. It will create breakdowns for humans. But what's going to happen is that more of these earthquakes are going to drop, allowing for more stages to be seen. The curtains are going to open, and the more stages, secondary stages that are seen, the more that the human that is having cognitive dissonance, the faster or the more they will start to wake up out of the illusion that this initial stage that they've been living in isn't real. So if you think that it's just COVID that's going to awaken humanity, no. There are many earthquakes that are going to drop, that are going to activate and awaken more humans, because more secondary stages are going to be seen. So why is this so important? Why am I even sharing this? Because what is most important right now is that we do not fight, argue, belittle, blame those that are in cognitive dissonance. We practice and learn higher states of consciousness while we are seeing the initial stage and the secondary stages. Higher states of consciousness is sovereignty, speaking truth, opening my heart, loving more, having more compassion, having more empathy, allowing others to be in cognitive dissonance, allowing others to be asleep, allowing this to play out naturally. This human evolution is natural. That doesn't mean you don't stand up and speak your truth and protest and do whatever you need to do. Honor your basic human rights. Beautiful. But if we continue to turn and fight the other humans, we are missing the entire point of this evolution, this human evolution. It is for you to evolve, not for you to belittle somebody else who's not choosing to evolve right now. Because as more of these earthquakes drop, we need you to be in higher states of consciousness in order to hold higher frequencies of light in your body, in order to allow this process to be more peaceful and easy and graceful for the rest of humanity that's having a very difficult time accepting all of this. So in every moment right now, instead of paying acute attention to this narrative on this initial secondary stage that you're watching, the COVID, the passports, the you-know-what in the arm, instead ask yourself, what state of consciousness am I choosing in every moment? How am I treating other humans? Do I have compassion and empathy? Am I yelling, arguing, belittling, right? Or am I holding a field of acceptance in some way? Love, unconditional love, maybe just a little bit, right? Because you impact all of this by the choices that you're making. So this is just the beginning. There are many secondary stages out there that we have to see. It's part of the human collective shadow. It doesn't mean that we don't get through this or there's anything wrong or bad about these secondary stages. What it means is that there are secondary stages that are still hidden in the shadow, many that hold the same collective shadow: fear, greed, manipulation, control, mind control, coercion, propaganda. We've got to see it all play out. Otherwise, we cannot move through this shadow. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's an acceptance, and then it's learning how to evolve. It's learning how to choose your states of consciousness. It's learning how to lift up out of this first initial illusionary stage and start to move into higher states of consciousness, more light in your own physical body, so that you can more easily and gracefully navigate all that is unraveling. And it's all okay. And we get through this. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. This is a miraculous moment in our history, in our evolution. You came here for this, whether this makes any sense to you or not. And remember that we do get through this. More compassion, more empathy, more love, more acceptance. That's what we need. I love you.